My kid brother bombed his exam and was terrified the teacher would call our parents, so he begged me to show up at school pretending to be the adult in charge. "Dad, this is my homeroom teacher." He tugged at my sleeve, all shy. The woman across from us, though, was shooting me a look sharp enough to cut, and then it hit me. Wasn't that my first love, the one I dumped 3 years ago? I steadied myself and forced a greeting. "Hey, what a coincidence." "It's not a coincidence at all. What surprises me is that only 3 years after our breakup, you already have such a grown son." When I entered college, my parents said they had a special matriculation gift for me. I asked what it was. "Not yet," they said. 9 months later, a brand new little brother arrived. Watching my mom blush and nuzzle into my dad's arms, I gave my old man a thumbs up. "Dad, you're amazing. Now you even have a little son." The key point: the kid looked exactly like me. Line up our photos at the same age and you'd think they were duplicates. Mom hoisted my brother with a proud grin. "Our family's excellent genes. If we don't keep passing them on, what a waste. Look at this little face. How many girls will he charm one day?" I had no wish to disappoint her. Still, the truth is, I've only ever loved one person, and I like the older version of my little brother, the cool-headed kind. Meanwhile, my actual little brother seemed like a challenge hand-delivered by the heavens. Since he could walk, he's climbed trees, gone for swims, and raided bird nests without blinking. Once he started school, he planted himself firmly at the bottom of his class and didn't dare tell mom and dad. So he drafted me as the designated representative to get lectured in the office, every time. This term he got a new homeroom teacher. After the second trimester scores came out, I was summoned again. In the office, my brother latched onto my shirt and made a very earnest introduction. "Teacher Lila, my dad is here." "Dad, this is my homeroom teacher, Teacher Lila." I opened my mouth to say hello, but the words died at my tongue when I met her cool, steady gaze. I swallowed and veered hard. "Hey, what a coincidence." "It's not a coincidence at all. What surprises me is that only 3 years after our breakup, you already have such a grown son." Leo tipped his head up at me, shocked. I could feel his panic matching mine. In our hearts, the brotherly chorus boomed, "We're done for." Half an hour later, my mother arrived, snorted at my brother, and went off for a chat in the office. That night he was disciplined by both parents, and I received a friend request from Lila, my ex from 3 years back. From the day I started college, I'd noticed that icy, untouchable flower. I pursued her relentlessly for a year. My name still circulates on the university gossip lists because of it, but eventually I did win that proud and distant bloom, and we spent 3 passionate years together. Everyone was certain that once Lila graduated, we'd get married. Instead, I broke things off, and she, devastated, left to study in Canada. I became a minor campus legend for all the wrong reasons. "Your cup is in the office." Lila sent a photo. It jogged my memory. Earlier, while my mum chased Leo around, he'd hid behind me. I'd been busy playing peacemaker, and I'd forgotten my water bottle on her desk. I typed, "Could you leave it with my brother so he can bring it back tomorrow?" Her reply was immediate. "No, come get it yourself. After all, I'm the one who gave it to you." That water bottle had been a gift from her. I'd kept it like a treasure for years. Great. So much for the suave image I left behind when I broke up with her. It had just crumbled. Next day, I returned to the school. Lila sat in the office by the window in a crisp white shirt, slender fingers holding a pen as she worked through a stack of papers. The first time I'd ever seen her, it was the same. Quiet, composed, and drawing every eye without trying. "Bro, what are you doing just standing there?" My trance snapped when someone called from behind me. Lila looked up at the sound. Leo had arrived in a small orbit of girls. He glanced at me, curious. "Did Teacher Lila call you here to scold me again?" Before I could answer, the little girls launched their complaint to Lila. "Teacher Lila!" Leo was flirting with us. I stared at my 7-year-old brother. "A prodigy in romance?" Leo stamped his foot. "No, I wasn't. I was only joking." The girls didn't relent. "He was flirting. He said he'd marry us." They lined up with aggrieved faces. I felt obligated to show I was the responsible adult. "Leo, how could you say that? You're a student. Your job is to study. You can't be thinking about love." Lila chuckled softly behind me, and I suddenly remembered hearing those exact words before. "Adrian, you're a student. You should focus on your studies and not obsess over romance." I had just delivered her old lecture right back to her. "You really are brothers," Lila said, amused. She soothed the girls and dispersed the crowd. My brother and I stood there like stunned quails. Lila went back in, handed me the cup, and picked up her bag. Let's go, my treat. Let's catch up. Any other time if someone said eat, the two of us would have happily celebrated. But across from Lila, both of us fell silent. Leo clutched his chopsticks and only dared to pick at the rice and whatever was directly in front of him. Maybe because I'd been the one to end it. And rumor has it someone even saw her browsing wedding dresses before I dumped her. Guilt swelled in my chest when I faced her. So, how's life in Canada? Not bad, busy studying every day. No one interrupts me to talk about love anymore. I dropped my gaze and kept quiet. Thankfully, she didn't linger on herself and shifted to ask about Leo's grades. My brother threw me a look of pure misery. Sorry, kid. To make this less awkward for me, I'm sacrificing you. After we ate, I turned down her offer to drive us and insisted on taking the subway. Leo and I sprinted like rabbits to catch the train, then clung to the overhead straps, both of us panting. Bro, is Teacher Lila really your ex-girlfriend? I nodded. Then she must have liked you a lot. Did she listen to you back then? I recalled. She did like me, and she generally humoured me too. When I nodded, he brightened. Then why don't you get back together? I gaped at him. How could a first grader talk like this? People nearby were already giving us side eyes. I shouldn't have taken the subway. It's perfect, he added earnestly. If Teacher Lila is mean to me later, I can come to you. How is she mean to you? She always calls on me in class and checks my homework super carefully. I was quiet for a long time, then spent the entire ride explaining that this is how teachers show they care about your performance. He squinted at me, suspicious. I don't believe it. Are you going to help me or not? Aren't I your brother? No, you're my nemesis. I decided to give him the abridged history of Lila and me. When I finished, Leo kept quiet all the way until we stepped off the train. Then he shouted, "So you dumped Teacher Lila and now she doesn't like me?" Everything I'd said? Useless. This kid is unbelievable. Back home, his eyes went red. He stormed into his room and started sobbing as soon as he tossed down his backpack. What's going on? Aren't you thrilled when your big brother comes to pick you up? Mom poked her head in, baffled, and soon his howls echoed down the hall. Mom, now I understand what it means when people say, the innocent suffer for the guilty. Fortunately, the grief lasted only 3 days. On the 3rd day, he waltzed in with a notebook featuring a big hand-drawn thumbs up and proudly showed off his prize. Teacher Lila said I've been doing great on my homework, so she drew this just for me. He shoved the notebook into my face and I froze, staring. That simple sketch. I'd taught it to Lila. Back when we studied together in the library, I could never keep up with her pace. After a while, I'd nod off. To avoid drooling on her books, I had to keep my hands busy, so I doodled a quick thumbs up in her notebook. Don't draw all over my notepad, she'd scolded. I'd glared back. I'm teaching you. One day, when you're a teacher, you can use this to reward students. She'd laughed and let me fill her pages with little thumbs. And clearly, she'd kept the trick. I handed the notebook back. Leo stared at me, eyes wide with curiosity. I still want you to be with Teacher Lila. If she's with you, I can brag that she's my future sister-in-law. That'd be so cool. So it was about vanity. I clapped a hand over his mouth and told him to get to his homework. He didn't bring it up again. I thought he'd dropped the idea. I didn't expect that a week later I'd get a message from Lila. Did Leo tell you that you've stayed single because you've been waiting for me? Rumors spread fast and are impossible to quash. I went home and gave Leo a light beating. He grabbed his head, wailing. But it's true, isn't it? You've been single because you're waiting for Teacher Lila, right? What was I supposed to say? If I denied it, I'd only be admitting that I'd been thoroughly unpursued for years. He persisted. Bro, just get back together with her. She was super happy when she heard you're still single. How can you tell she was happy? You read minds now? He huffed and turned away. I just know. She even showed us a movie this afternoon. She never does that. Was it a film about dental care? How'd you know? I snorted. Because today is World Oral Health Day. The way his brain works is truly a wonder. But he wouldn't give up, repeating the same line over and over. That night, the last message from Lila still glowed on my screen. After thinking it through, I typed back, I suppose not. Dozens want to date me. None are the right fit. 3 seconds later, her reply pinged in. So you haven't met anyone better than me? I was doomed. Canada really had changed her. The once distant lady had turned bold. I thought you were waiting for me. You said you'd love me for the rest of your life. The words twisted in my chest. I typed, "That was years ago. Maybe I was just mouthing off." She replied, "I took it seriously." That single sentence kept me awake all night. I turned up to work with dark circles. A colleague blinked. "You haven't been doing overtime. How'd you pull an all-nighter?" "Don't tell me." "A woman?" I forced a smile. He patted my shoulder, convinced he'd figured it out. Matters of the heart are serious. My advice: pick someone who loves you, not someone you love, like that HR girl who's into you, Maya. I suspected he'd been promised a matchmaker's fee. He'd been trying to nudge me toward Maya for weeks. Before I could turn him down again, Maya approached, timid. "Adrian, are you busy today? Want to grab dinner after work? You said you were craving barbecue. There's a new place nearby." I meant to refuse. But when she said barbecue, I faltered. "It's just a meal. We can go as friends." It felt rude to say no, so we went. In the haze of the grill smoke, I attacked the skewers with gusto. Maya asked quietly, "Adrian, what kind of person do you like?" And Lila's face flashed across my mind. Cold moonlight, distant and tender. The kind of sight that sets your heart alight at a glance. Actually, there is someone I like. I hated admitting it. But Lila is my moonlight, the love of my life, if I'm honest. Maya fell silent for a long time, then smiled wanly and told me to eat more. By the time we finished, night had fallen. I walked her out, ready to make sure she got home safe. The moment we stepped outside, someone called my name. There stood Leo, clutching Lila's hand. Both looked stormy. "Weren't you supposed to pick me up today?" Oh no, I'd forgotten. Back home, Leo flung his bag and slammed his door. "What's with you two lately?" I scratched my head, mortified. I was absolutely at fault. We had agreed I'd pick him up that morning, but work had been hectic and it slipped my mind. He and Lila had waited at school for 2 hours. When it got late, she decided to bring him back. And then, a block away from home, they saw me walking out of a barbecue place. Once I finally coaxed Leo into calming down, I messaged Lila. "Thanks for today. I lost track of time. Seems you were busy dining with another woman." Her reply conjured the look she'd given earlier, storm clouds in her eyes and a stare so sharp it could pierce Maya. She didn't loosen her grip on Leo's wrist until he yelped in pain. "She's a colleague. I needed her advice on a work problem." I don't know why I felt compelled to explain to Lila. It felt unnecessary. After I'd showered and climbed into bed, her response came. "It's none of my business. Do as you please." She was right. We weren't together. Who I ate with was not her concern, and yet I lay awake till dawn. The days drifted by. Lila stopped reaching out, and Maya did too. Life returned to its calm routine. Then a month later, Leo bounded home with his latest exam results. His grades sparkled. Mum was over the moon and rewarded him with 2 massive drumsticks. He sighed and dropped both into my bowl. That night, he crept into my room. "Bro, can you please date teacher Lila? I can't take it anymore." Tears trembled in his voice. "She checks my homework every night. She calls on me every single class. I'm exhausted." Isn't it good when a teacher pays attention? I wanted to comfort him, but he'd already passed out from sheer fatigue. Was it really that bad? Over the next 2 weeks, he drooped more each day, nearly dozing off into his food. I finally admitted this was serious and texted Lila. "Teacher Lila, Leo did well this time. Thank you for your guidance. But he's been saying he's too tired lately. Could he ease up a little?" Perfectly polite. I felt oddly pleased with myself. Her reply that afternoon. "He has a lot of potential and should focus on his studies." My hackles rose. He never even watched TV anymore. He dove straight into His desk after school. Was that not focus? I brooded, then typed. Do you give other students this much attention too, or are you still upset about what happened before? Are you questioning my professionalism? No, just speaking. To this specific situation. Inwardly, I muttered, Lila's getting petty. She didn't reply. That afternoon, Leo trudged home with a thundercloud face. Teacher Lila scolded me. Can't you two not drag me into your mess? Why? I couldn't believe she'd target him. Where were her principals? Had she left them in Canada? I was writing a furious message when my screen lit up. He is indeed more diligent in class now, but beyond class time, he's absorbed in card games. I asked him. He's been hiding at night to play, neglecting rest. I stormed into his room and flipped his mattress. A pile of Ultraman cards lay hidden there. He had probably poured all his allowance into them. He stood in the corner, trying to look innocent. Another ping. I criticized him today. The games are affecting his sleep. Please help curtail it. Also, I call on students at random. There is no special attention. Shame burned my face. I never imagined I'd be that kind of person in your eyes. Well, I'd stepped in it. I hauled Leo over, gave him a few smacks on the butt, and confiscated all the cards. Later it dawned on me. Lila must be angry. She never responded when she was mad. With her standards, being accused of unethical teaching would cut deep. She ignored my apologies. So, I decided to apologize in person and went to the office when school let out. There she was again in that plain white shirt, bent over a stack of homework with that effortless, composed air that always sets her apart. On the walk-in, I'd heard little girls whispering about how pretty she was. Aesthetic sense starts young, I suppose. The hallway felt like university all over again, back when I'd first heard about a striking new student and then saw her myself, breath catching. Do you need something? Her voice snapped my head up. I'd been caught staring. I'm sorry. I was wrong the other day. I didn't have the full picture. I came to apologize. Okay. Apology accepted. That was it? I'd rehearsed for half an hour and that was the end? Let me make it up to you with dinner. No need. I have a meeting. As if on cue, someone knocked. Teacher Lila, time for the meeting. A very handsome male teacher stood in the doorway, all gentle polish. Lila rose and went with him. On the way home, Leo squeezed my hand. That's our English teacher, Mr. Lin. He's pretty handsome, I said. He is, and he likes teacher Lila. If you want to get back together with her, you need to hurry. I crouched down and looked him in the eye. We did date, but it's over. Don't say things like that. People might misunderstand. He nodded solemnly, then blurted, But why? Teacher Lila likes you. Don't you like her? Where'd you hear that? I stood up, annoyed, and tugged him along. He trotted beside me, still chattering. Usually when we go to her office and don't ask about studies, she lets us play. But the day I mentioned you, she listened for a long time and finally asked how you're doing. She didn't let me go till class started. Does she still like me? The thought wouldn't leave. I remembered our breakup, a bleak, rainy day. She sat across from me, fingers twisting with nerves. When I said it was over, disbelief froze her face. I spent the day at the airport, watching planes rise and fall, telling myself over and over that this was the life she deserved. Canada, a future. I thought she'd stay there, and yet we collided again 3 years later. After that, I stopped picking Leo up from school. I mulled for days and finally deleted Lila from my contacts. Seeing her unsettled me. Better to cut it off. Leo stopped bringing her up. Time slid forward. The peach blossoms bloomed with unusual fervour, and in a blink, it was December. Leo came home and tugged me aside. Do you really not like teacher Lila anymore? It had been a while since he'd raised the topic. I saw Mr. Lin with a huge bouquet today. People said he's bringing them to her house. They'd look good on paper, I thought. I said nothing, couldn't sleep, and woke feverish. I took sick leave and slept the day away. In the evening, noise outside jarred me awake. It wasn't quiet hours, but the neighbors should still show some respect. I cracked my door in pajamas, ready to complain, and froze. The door opposite mine stood open, and Lila directed movers wrangling a sofa inside. "Hello, neighbor," she smiled. Lila had moved in next door. That night she came to borrow soy sauce. Leo's was the most dramatic reaction. After dinner, he dropped to his knees before me in exaggerated desperation. "Big brother, I beg you, get back together with teacher Lila. Otherwise, won't she be watching me every day from next door?" I shrugged and told him it wasn't up to me. One day it was soy sauce, the next toilet paper. Even Mom got suspicious. She seems so careful usually. Why is she so forgetful? I sensed what Lila was doing, but she kept her distance. Just a polite greeting when we crossed paths. Leo, meanwhile, looked gloomy and didn't dare go downstairs to play with the other kids anymore. The air grew colder as Christmas approached. The neighborhood glittered red and gold. Shops hung wreaths. Couples filled the streets. Leo texted to say he'd be let out early because the teachers had a dinner and told me to come home for hot pot. Just before I left work, the company handed out a single flower to each of us, so we wouldn't walk home empty-handed and feel awkward amid the holiday atmosphere. I hummed a tune as I headed back, flower in hand. Downstairs, I spotted Lila taking out the trash. I had figured she'd be out at the staff dinner. I waved and was about to head up when she caught my hand. "Are you celebrating Christmas with someone?" The question threw me. I nodded. "It's a holiday. We're having hot pot." Her fingers loosened. Her face looked bloodless, and she wore something stylish but thin, like always. I opened my mouth to tell her to dress warmer, but my phone rang. Leo's impatience vibrating the screen. "Never mind. We weren't together." I didn't need to fuss, I answered as I walked upstairs. We gathered around the bubbling pot, happy and warm, until I realized we were out of oyster sauce. As a certified oyster sauce enthusiast, I couldn't accept such a tragedy. I threw on my shoes and headed out. The streets were a sea of red, humming with cheer. I bought my bottle and hummed my way home. Lila's apartment was dark. She must have gone out, I thought with a sigh as I rode the elevator up. The doors slid open. I hadn't even pulled out my keys when slender hands tugged me into the stairwell. The light was dim. I lifted the bottle as a reflex, and a second hand closed over mine. "It's me," that voice. "Lila, what are you doing?" My heart jolted. She shifted us around so my back was against the wall. A faint scent of alcohol clung to her. "You've been drinking." "Merry Christmas," she murmured, words slightly slurred, her cold fingers wrapping around mine as if she'd been waiting there a long time. "Weren't you supposed to be out celebrating? Why are you back?" "I celebrated Christmas with my family." "What did you think?" she asked softly. "Why did you delete my contact?" she suddenly said, so she'd noticed. "You never reply," I muttered. "I deleted you. If anything comes up about Leo, just message my mom." "But why did you delete me 3 years ago?" "I sent message after message. You never answered. And then you deleted me." I fell silent. "That's all ancient history. What's the point dredging it up? So you forgot it all. Every promise, every moment." She grabbed my tie and pulled me down to meet her eyes. "How can you burn so bright when you love someone and then drop her without a word when you don't? Sometimes I wonder, Adrian, did you even love me? What were those 3 years? Was I someone you loved or just a goal you had to conquer?" I'd never heard Lila's voice tremble. She'd always been proud, aloof, a little hard to approach. "Say something," she whispered. "Can't you say anything?" She tumbled into my arms, and the scent I knew so well rushed in. My mind emptied. My body moved on its own, arms tightening around her waist. "Adrian, why did you do that to me?" "It's been 3 years. I've thought every single day, what did I do wrong? Why did you sentence me without a hearing?" Her voice echoed in the empty stairwell. "I've gone to church so many times to pray. I begged God to forgive whatever I did. I even thought if there were demons in this world, I'd bargain away everything just to have a chance to be with you again. 3 years. Not long, not short." Tears pricked my eyes. "I'd been suffering too," she continued. "Tell me, please, what mistake did I make? I'll change. I can't stand the idea of you with someone else." She clung to me. A warm tear fell on my skin. "I'm sorry." After a long silence, that's all I could say. "I don't need sorry. I want us to start over," she said, head buried against my chest. Her shoulders shook. I lifted a hand and patted her gently. "Okay. The word felt like releasing a boulder I'd carried for years. The pain, all of it, eased. She raised her head, stunned. Really? You won't abandon me again? I won't. My eyes burned. From the moment you returned, I wanted to be with you. I was just scared. Scared you wouldn't forgive me. Scared you'd turn me away. Like I did back then. When I finally walked in with the oyster sauce, Leo had already eaten his fill. Bro, why so late? Hurry, I kept some shrimp for you. I sat and started eating. He squinted at me. Why are your lips swollen? I flinched. I'd been a bit too enthusiastic in the stairwell. It's nothing, the food's spicy. I rushed past it. Before bed, he barreled into my room. Bro, you got back together with teacher Lila. I bolted upright. How do you know? I saw her downstairs. She bought me snacks and said I can call her sister-in-law outside of school. I hadn't expected Lila to tell him so quickly. It took ages to get him to sleep. By morning, the whole family knew. Mom watched me over her mug at breakfast. Are you dating teacher Lila? Pfft, I sprayed milk. How do you know? Your brother told me. I knew something was up. She smiled, triumphant. Her school is far from here. Why else would she move in and keep forgetting things? It's obviously for you. I ducked my head and said nothing. Mom laughed until her eyes crinkled. That evening, when I went to pick up Leo, Lila insisted on coming along. The three of us ran into my mum on the stairs. You're back, Miss Lila. Come have dinner with us. Mom's address changed within a day. Okay, Auntie, Lila replied sweetly. At dinner, Leo wore an expression like a doomed man. If I'd known, I wouldn't have played matchmaker. Eating with my teacher is so stressful. Lila heard him as she came from the sink, hands still damp. Her smile wasn't quite a smile. I knew Leo was in trouble. With Lila's constant encouragement, he aced his finals. Unfortunately, his joy didn't last. She keeps visiting, he moaned. As a chronic last-minute homeworker, he finally cracked under the pressure. Right after New Year's, he begged, Bro, let's move. Don't let teacher Lila come over all the time. I can't. I seriously can't. It was too late. If things went as expected, he'd spend the next 4 years of primary school under Lila's watchful eye. The weather warmed. One afternoon, I was jogging home with a fresh ice cream when a familiar woman took off her sunglasses at my door and smiled. Do you have a minute? I'd like to talk. Lila's mother. The last time I'd seen her was before I graduated, when she came to campus. You and Lila aren't suitable, she'd told me. Because of you, she gave up studying abroad. If you truly love her, let her go. Don't hold her back. I'd thought our love would make us unstoppable, but reality was different. She'd had a wide-open future, and I was afraid she'd resent me 20 years later when love wore thin and the grind of life set in. So I ended it. I knew, now that we were together again, her mother would find me eventually. She brought me to a cafe, slid a check across the table, and said, You understand. I picked it up with a cheerful smile. Thank you for the gift, Auntie. Don't worry. I'll take good care of my relationship with Lila. Her expression shifted. I want you to break up. You aren't suitable. Don't drag her down. You told me the same thing 3 years ago. We broke up, but 3 years later she came back to me. Doesn't that say something? That's because you lured her, she snapped, fingers tightening. I calmly pushed the check back. If you could persuade her, you wouldn't need to come to me. If you don't accept me, that's your problem. You've changed from 3 years ago, she said after a pause. I nodded. 3 years in the real world had knocked the naivete out of me, she added. Back then you didn't even tell Lila. I was surprised. Later, I told her I was the one who tore you apart. It was the first time she truly got angry with me. She sighed and nudged the check toward me again. You win. Our relationship was already rocky. It can't get worse. Take the gift. Goodbye. She swept out. I was about to leave when my phone rang. Where are you? Lila asked. At a cafe, I admitted. Did my mom see you? Of course she'd guess. I don't even like coffee. Yes. But this time she's willing to bless us. The line went quiet except for the sound of her breathing. Why didn't you tell me back then? It's all right. Storm's past. Sky's clear. I lingered at the table until she arrived, breathless, a little frantic. I'm not going anywhere, I said softly. I pulled her into a hug. I told you, this time I won't leave you again.